Thanks for watching News Echoes on World Affairs. My name is Shegun Johnson, and I'm glad you're watching. And we have so many important things to discuss today. I just want you to stay focused on these very important issues. I have in the studio with me, all the way from Milan, Mark Godwin. Mark, you are welcome to the program.
Morning, Dr. Shagun. Beautiful day out here. I hope it's the same there in the UK.
Yeah, UK is sizzlingly hot. Everywhere is sizzling here. And you can be assured that everything is going on well here, except with politics. And that's exactly what we want to look at in international politics today. There's a lot of
Yes.
reductionism of institutions across the globe. In the transatlantic nation of the United States, it appears that Donald Trump is putting down the electoral commission as well as the judiciary. He said that the election was rigged. He maintained it. He never attended the Joe Biden's inauguration, and now he's been charged to two different courts, though pleading guilty. The second one is that he is charged with holding documents of the government in his personal house, and we've seen pictures of these in his bathroom, bedroom, everywhere, and that compromises the security of the United States of America. Americans are jittery and afraid that some of their workers, especially in the security, may have been compromised. Therefore, their lives are no longer safe. But Trump says he's not wrong. That is the president. He's the one holding on to issues. And but the bottom line is that he's trying to pound, or if you like, pulverize the institutions that Americans have always believed in. So he says the electoral institution is faulty. Now he said the judiciary is faulty. And you know that where there is no law, no order, then development starts slowing down. So, what's your take on this Trump's saga?
Yes, Dr. Shagun. You broke it down very well. Trump pleads not guilty to federal charges. He also says that all of what they are putting on him is not true. But he's preparing to come to court, I think, either today. A lot has been said about this whole issue. He's going to be preparing to show why he says he's not guilty. Because this is a federal criminal charge, Dr. Shagun. Authorities says Trump schemed and lied to block the government from recovering those documents concerning nuclear programs and military secrets. And also, we know of all those other charges before. So these documents are stored up in his Mar-a-Lago estate, and it's a serious one. He's also accused of a New York court is also accusing him of falsifying business records regarding to a hush money payment made during his 2016 campaign. So Trump is facing some big things here, Dr. Shagun, but he has completely denied all wrongdoings in all the cases slammed on him, and he's expected to return to New Jersey by next week or so because he says these things are all false accusation.
Yeah, the problem here is that people no longer depend or will the kind of understanding they will have about institutions, that they can be corrupt, they could pull down individuals, will now be seeping into people's mentality and thereby eroding the power of institutions, which will lead to the denigration of the government eventually, and anarchy may follow, like we saw on January 6th, when anarchy followed and people just entered the parliament or the Congress of America, and it was a very shabby one. To
Yes.
what extent do you think Trump is reducing the quality of the institutions of the American government.
That's it, Dr. Shago. We all know what the rule of law is. It's a universal law that governs a people in a territory. Now, what is happening with Trump doing like this is that he's also going against the rule of law. So this is what happens when somebody thinks he's larger than life. You know, this also
and nobody is above the law. Nobody is above
and
the law.
nobody is above the law. Nobody is above the law. So he says they are false accusations. These are all done to undermine his 2024 campaign, presidential campaign, and he's seeing it from a different angle. So, but the indictments have the judge, the courts, and the lawyers all have their proof. Everybody have evidence, and everything is out there.
Thank you very much, Massive Mark from Milan. We have our colleagues joining us from different continents. We have Bidi Nana all the way from Nigeria, Africa. Bidi, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Dr. Shegu. Thanks for having me. Good morning, everyone in the studio. Massive Mark, George, and our viewers all around the world. Good to have you today again. Let's do it.
Yes, and across the ocean is Armand Sir George from Toronto. Sir George, you're welcome to the program as well.
It is my pleasure to be here this morning and welcome all of you guys that are here. It is going to be a fantastic show today. We're talking about our brother from North America here, our brother Trump. And it would be nice to talk about, a different alternative beliefs that we all have. So I want to welcome all the viewers from around the world. Yes, go ahead.
Sir George, I was about to ask you that the issue of Trump going to court, returning to his beautiful plane and flying all over the place, showing off, is not the real issue for the rest of us. We are concerned with the denting of the institutions. Number one, he dented the electoral institution in the United States, saying that they were corrupt and they rigged the election against him. And everybody has been watching whether that was true or not. As if that was not enough, he then went on to the courts and saying that the court is also partial and that they are witch hunting, which means denting the image of these institutions. You will recall, Sir George, that President Obama came to Ghana a few years ago and was shouting institution, that we should care less about individuals but put more emphasis on the institution. But here we are with the institutions of the great United States of American democracy being rubbished by his own former president. And to what extent will this go and linger on and destroy institutions that Obama and the rest believed in?
The point is this man is a different kind of individual. He believes that he's Mussolini. He believes that he's Stalin. He believes to bring back dictatorship. That's why he's attracted to those type of people. Look at him. When you look at the people that he admires the most is North Korean president. He admires somebody like Putin, who makes himself, an eternal leader of Russia. So those are the type of people that he believes in. So these are the things that he's trying to reinstitute in America. Why is that so? Simply because he believes in white supremacy. That is what is fueling this whole entire thing. He doesn't believe in institution. He believes in, he's fought against CIA, FBI. He's fought against the Justice Department. He fought against every institution in America. He wants to stand a king in America. But the point of the matter is, America is a democratic state and can never be allowed somebody like that to come and mess up the whole institution. The rule of law still stands. Every effort was made to retrieve all these documents from him. Now, he started lying at the very beginning. At the end, when all the documents were found, he started saying that I have the right to keep it. I am the president. I was the president. The president has the right to keep any document that he wants. So he disregards everything that the institution stands for. And that is what the problem is. Now,
Yeah.
we are seeing several charges on him, and more will be coming. Because if America is not careful, and listen to this though, you see what is happening right now is he's basing his everything that he's doing on those white people that believe that anybody else that is not a white person is a visitor and ought to go back to their countries. That's what they believe. And that's the reason why they stand behind him, because they believe that all the foreign, anybody else that is coming, is just they don't belong to America. We ought to stand on top and rule over everybody. You see it happening
That's
again and again.
intriguing. It's
You
very
see, as
intriguing
intriguing
because we
as it
know
is
that
in
the Americans.
2023, as intriguing as it is in 2023, there are some people that believe fundamentally that any colored individual in that country ought not to have any important position right there. And most of these people that are supporting him are uneducated white folks who believe that blacks came to steal their country, who believe that Indians or any other colored individual that is not white, that they are nothing but parasites coming to take over. But most of them did not go to school. So that's what you are really seeing. The man has a myopic view of governance.
Very myopic indeed. It's an issue of racism that is
That's what
keeping
it is.
Trump there. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Biddy, it's interesting, Biddy, that the more the Trump saga continue, the more his own supporters, the stronger they become, believing in him. He holds a rally and they all rush there. He raises up offering. It's offering time, and you see people donating in millions. And he used the last occasion to raise money again, and seen all of them rushing one after one another to donate money. What is it in racism that is still keeping Trump alive and is number one in the Republican polls to be the next presidential candidate? And of course, the American Democrats are saying, bring him on, we'll lash him again. What is it about racism?
I don't know. And this is going to be a very big problem for America if they don't check this thing. Because with the way Trump is going and his supporters, if care is not taken, these people are going to let this man back into the White House. I am telling you. And he's so full of himself with his actions, with his words. He owes nobody any apology. And that's a different thing. My problem with what is happening around Trump is his supporters. They are getting more day by day. They are growing. You know, you don't you will not be expecting the kind of crowd or supporters he's drawing, but this man is getting more supporters, even with all his racism attitude and attributes. It's growing by minutes. I don't know. I don't even know what to say again. I used to think
Can I
most of the problem I'm seeing in America is an African thing. It's a third world thing. Well,
can I say something
I'm
to
just seeing
that?
everything in America.
I just wanted to add to what
Yes.
Billy is saying. This is very, very important. What has happened in the news media is there is a huge wall, a huge divide. When you go to Fox News, every single thing that happens, they are feeding the narratives of these people, and they turn every situation upside down, and they feed them what they want to hear.
But somebody is here that disagrees with you.
Don't worry about anybody that doesn't like. Don't worry about anybody that doesn't. Hold tight, hold tight. Don't worry about anybody that doesn't agree with me. This is the place I grew up. And I understand. I grew up in the South, and I understand their mentality and the way they believe and the way they see things. We have the rule of law. The point about the news right now is when you go to Fox News or some of these so-called quote-unquote conservative news media, you don't hear nothing that you will hear for MSNBC or anything that you can hear for CNN or any other any other news media that believes in the rule of law. So when you go to Fox News on some of these conservative, and sometimes when when I'm listening to them, I shiver. I'm like, wait a minute, are we actually listening? Are we existing in this same world? Because this is what you call alternative lifestyle, alternative belief. And they have taken that room called conservatism. And what that entails mostly is racism, believing in white supremacy, and everybody else must be subjugated to our own system of belief. And they can do whatever they want and get away with it. But it's not going to happen because America still maintains that rule of law, and they know that the world is watching. So that's what it is. So
But Trump is breaking down the rule of law.
Let me welcome Dr. Ibe. I believe he has come out of his birthday bash. So let's welcome him into the forum. You are welcome, Dr. Ibe.
Thank you so much, Legion. Thank you so much, viewers, for tuning in. I'm at your service. What do you want to ask me?
Now we're talking about the reduction of the importance of institutions, especially in America. Yeah, and Trump is doing everything to bash the electoral institution, to bash the judiciary. And if you continue with this way, people will lose interest in government and governance, and underdevelopment will set in, as we have seen in underdeveloped countries, where institutions have not been rated high. Individuals are more powerful than the institutions, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. How do you see Donald Trump in his movements in the last few months, that he's bashing the judiciary, that this is witch hunting and the rest?
Like they say, democracy is the government of the people, for the people, by the people. So irrespective of what you and me think, if the people want something, we have to respect their wish. And Donald Trump is very popular at that. No one can deny that. No one can deny that he has a mass following, and that anywhere he is, people move there. Even if he called the name, even if he called the program Mars or Jupiter, people, millions in troops, we go there. They will sign up. If they ask for passport information and credit card, they fill it in and they join. So he has that massive influence, and because democracy is the government of the people, you cannot disregard their views. And moreover, I would like to, with all due respect, of course, to Sir George, is my guy in that aspect. Most Americans identify as independent, and then we now have conservative and Republicans. And independents, if you ask a lot of independents, they get their news from not only mainstream media, but from the new media, like online, so social media and YouTube and all the other video hosting platforms. So I don't think it's fair to disregard any of his views, because they are backed up by not majority, but a sizable chunk of the population that is statistically significant. Now, concerning the institutions you talked about, I am for institutions, I am for government, I'm for adequate regulation, not over-regulation. But the problem which we have seen is lack of freedom of speech, aka cancellation, or what you call censorship. Cancellation, censorship. You say small, boom, you're out. Iran president can be there, but the ex-president of the United States cannot be on social media. It is, I don't know what to call that. So he's now more whatever anti-democratic than the president of. I have nothing against president of Iran. No, I'm only using based on how even the same content blockers classify the president of Iran themselves. But yet you see the double standard. So you can see that he has a political overture for the cancellation. It is clear. I don't think anybody can argue with that. Now,
if you are referring to Twitter, it's not run by the government. It's an individual. It's a private entity.
No, no, no. I'm speaking about, we all understand the Twitter files, meaning that the government had influence in how the management of Twitter was run before it was taken over by Elon Musk. I think that's open information now. No one is arguing about that. So there was pure government interference in the decision making and the cancellation that happened. So you cannot call it a private institution. It was government. While it's a private organization, it was government sponsored and government interfered. So there's nothing. I think that's QE, the quad era demonstrator. Now, concerning
I
cancellation, it's a,
disagree with you, but go on.
please just indicate evidence. But the point is that the Twitter files is out there. I don't think anyone argues with that. Now, freedom of speech. Understand the what is more important than institution, as we have, which is a man-made project. What is more important than the man-made project of institution is the natural project of speech. Freedom of speech is the institution, natural institution for exchange of ideas. It is the God-given ability to generate order from chaos. We cannot put a leash on people's mouth, irrespective of whether we don't agree with their views, whether they are talking nonsense. The democracy, as it is put on in warrants that you have to trust the collective intelligence of the people. If you can trust the people for their votes, then you should trust their intelligence to decide what they want to watch, who they want to trust, how they want to coordinate themselves.
This is the main reason why we are where we are today in the world. Hold on a second. So, this is the main reason. Institutions, listen.
I haven't finished.
I partially agree with you, but you have to understand that where a vision is cast away, people cast off restraints. Number one is there ought to be order. There are countries that are ruled by dictators, whether they go through what you call pseudo-democratic process and reinstall the same person again for whatever reason that is. And this is what our man here is clamoring for.
Let me interject with all due respect, Sir George. This is your opinion. You have decided who is a dictator and who is not. This is your opinion.
No.
The other people, let me finish. Yes, exactly. So the people can vote, but you can sit here and say, oh, it's not the people that are voting, it's animals that are voting. You can have that view because you have no concrete evidence to say that the people didn't vote. You have to respect the result, which you do not have physical proof that the people didn't vote. You have classified somebody as a dictator when in his own country, probably the people there voted him, or at least the people identified. I'm just, again, your opinion, but you don't have.
Out of fear. We see that.
No, out of. In the definition of democracy, let's not move the goalposts. In the definition of democracy, there's no out of fear in the definition. You added that to suit your opinion. In the definition of democracy, there's nothing like out of fear, out of God, out of Satan, out of courage, out of fear. There's nothing like that. You only added that to the definition to suit your narrative. What is important is respect the people. QED, full stop. Respect the people. That means their opinion. You trust their vote. You trust their power. You trust their collective intelligence to determine what they want. Because if you have decided that somebody is a dictator, you decided it, then why should another person not determine that? No, it is not that person. It is you that is talking as a dictator. How is your word more important than another person's word? Okay, somebody now call me a dictator. Somebody now calls me a dictator. That, oh, I am a dictator. I'm sitting here, I'm a dictator. Okay, how do we not understand who is now the real dictator and who is not? Okay, you have to trust again the collective intelligence of the people.
Let's move this further. I've allowed you to have a useful discussion. Transatlantic in the United Kingdom, something is brewing just like in the America state. We now have ex-prime minister rubbishing the parliament. Boris Johnson, you recall, resigned as the prime minister, and since then has been, if you like, tried by the parliamentary committee that looks at the privileges of prime ministers and parliamentarians, and they have found him wanting. That during COVID, he was having parties upon parties. When people were dying, they could not say goodbye to their loved ones because of the number of people that died in the United Kingdom and how they're still mourning and how they were restricted from seeing their loved one before they died. They now put in Mr. Johnson on the scale and they found him wanting. He saw a copy of the parliamentary report and quickly resigned. And when the report came out yesterday, they will have been given 90-day suspension, which means that for 90 days, they could now take election in his constituency, and it is widely believed that he will have lost. So Boris Johnson has come out fighting that it was a kangaroo court. Nobody should believe it. And the same way that Trump has been reducing the importance of the judiciary in America, so also Boris is doing in England. And people have been describing his behavior as Trumpism, which means he's going after the kind of Trump. It is the era of impunity against the institutions of the developed countries. Mark, what do you say?
You're muted, please.
Yes, I said, Dr. Shagun, following that story was quite an interesting one. British former Prime Minister Boris Johnson has completely denied every access to the Parliament for deliberately misleading lawmakers over the rule-breaking COVID issue. He said a lot of things. He reacted by calling the findings, like you said, rubbish, and the privilege that they've given him is they have given this privilege to talk, but he's putting a lot of things into the dustbin, a lot of the accusation. But we are still watching what is happening. The disciplinary body of the lawmakers have said that he misled the parliament, he misled the public on several occasions, also having party in the government house. They also accused him of a complicit attitude in the campaign of abuse and attempted intimidation towards them, the parliamentarians. So this is what is happening with Boris Johnson. But the funny part is his reaction and his calling the whole thing rubbish. And he said that with a very loud voice to the public, you know. So,
yeah. Everything is being rubbish. Everything we have ever known about institutions is being rubbish right now. Bidi, you live in a country where impunity takes control. Those who are important in Nigeria can rubbish any institution, like the former Senate President Lawan. He did not take part in the primaries of his party, and therefore he should not have been in the new Senate. But here he is seated in the new Senate. Rocha Okorocha gave it to him. How did you do that? And so he had to rubbish the electoral system, rubbish the judiciary, and he found himself. How do you view this rubbishing of institutions, even in Nigeria?
I can't even talk about rubbishing an institution in Nigeria because to Nigerians it means nothing. It is a norm in us here. So it's when they talk about it in America or British, it becomes an issue where everybody can get up and do it. Like if it's a country that have a system, that statement that Rocha Sokorocha made and that question he asked Lawan should have taken him up, but nobody's saying anything about it because they're in power. They have the power.
How about Senator Buchakwa, who said, I have influence on my wife to make decisions as the president of Federal Court of Appeal, and everybody's deaf to it.
Because Lawan told him
exactly, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yes. No, sorry. Go ahead, Didi. I was saying that.
Here. Now, I once said it. It's okay. Say what you want to say.
No. I wanted to just go along with.
I once said it in this country. I once said it that the problem. You know what Nigerians, what people do in Nigeria, they try to maintain relevancy, because once you're relevant in this country, you can have your way. You can even kill somebody and nobody asks you about it. So when people talk about institution, strengthening institution in other line, I was like, wow, when can this happen in Nigeria? It does not happen. Do you understand? Now look at what our president is doing some appointments and relieving some people of his appointment. And the former Onisabakobo, the former Nigerian
President
Bar Association, now
Yeah.
told him that the thing he needs to do, he needs to sack Mahmoud, INEC chairman. And no one is saying anything about that. So it's, when others say, are more concerned about the institution and their rule of laws, to me, it's like a surprise thing, and they're getting there. It's working for them. Here, it does not work. As far as you have a say in this
Obama
country,
told us,
you can get up and do anything and get a benefit.
Yes, on that note, we'll go on a short break. When we return, the
We don't build this institution in Nigeria.
The Naira has been allowed to float, and we'll look at the consequences. Please don't go away. We will be right back.
Schengen Story magazine is an African international bi-monthly magazine based in Milan, Italy, and founded in 2016. The publication focuses on personalities, fashion, style, entrepreneurship, and culture for Africans. Though articles on food, movies, fitness, music, travel, sports, technology, and books are also featured. Our lives full of best stories. A lot can happen in a month. Expand your mind, change your world. Get Schengen Story magazine's full editions. Celebrating Africans make an impact. Read better, the inside story. Your fashion magazine for a better lifestyle. Inspiring stories for you. Your monthly dose of entertainment. A better mind keeping you updated.
Hashtag Schengen Story magazine. Get Schengen Story.
A year ago, I wrote a book titled The Final Solution, and I was trying to say to the rest of the world that there are challenges ahead. Now, a prophecy did come, and that prophecy is coming to pass. But I'm telling you, the final solution has been found many years ago in the Bible, because the Bible simply says righteousness exalts a nation and sin is a reproach to the people. So I want you to know that you can get solutions to problems in Ukraine, in Russia, in Nigeria, indeed all parts of the world. We need that solution, and the solution is straightforward. Please get a copy of my book. It's the Final Solution by Bishop Shegun Johnson, and you can find it in Kindle, in Amazon. Just type Bishop Shegun Johnson, The Final Solution. It will come. It's very, very small book you can read within 2 hours, but it contains the final solution. Do get a copy. Not getting it is doing disservice to humanity. Don't forget the final solution.
Hi there, I'm Mary Keurig, and I am a businesswoman in the United States, but I'm also the Global Content Vice President for the Sub-Saharan Open University in Nigeria. I could not be prouder to work with Dr. Osita Anamika and his team on helping to create not just entrepreneurs and skill-based talent that will get out into the workforce and make a living for themselves, but also young leaders. And to that end, with this integrity-rich university environment that's accredited now, and it's just an amazing opportunity for anyone there of any age to jump on board and learn, we want to let you know about a new offering that we have. We have a global governance and diplomacy course now provided by a whole team of people that crosses several countries to put together these resources and lots of great information for those of you who might be on the path toward public service and diplomatic service, NGO leadership, that sort of thing. We hope that you will walk through this open door and enjoy.
Thanks for staying with us. It's still the News Echoes talking about world affairs. We want to look at what's going on in Nigeria right now. The Naira has been floated, which means that there will be no two-tier system to the currency anymore. You go to the commercial bank, you have your Naira, you can buy your dollar. When it happened, everybody jubilated that there will be no selling of dollar privately anymore, like Sanusi Lamido had accused the Buhari administration of doing. Now you have your Naira, go straight to any commercial bank, apply for it, and you will buy dollars at the market rate, which means the black market, if you like, or people who are of the non-bank status, they're not going to make money out of it again. Many people were skeptical about that, but here we are. The Tinubu administration has removed two-tier currency affair, and the first time it did it, dollar became 1 to 660 naira. But at the close of day yesterday, it became 702 naira to $1. And many people believe that naira has been devalued, whether it is said so or not. Implication of devaluation will be increase in production costs, leading to inflation within the society, and the common man will find it difficult to have more jobs or be able to buy easy commodities. Let me allow my colleagues to comment on this. Sir George, let me start from you. Now we have one currency situation. We don't have to go to the black market or any other market anymore, the main market. What's your take?
Well, my take is, in the first place, where did it originate from? What section of society benefited from this for many years and became billionaires and millionaires? Because we have to look at the inception, where it rooted from, where it came from, who were the people that were benefiting out of it. We already know. So now, I believe that this is a very fantastic move. The reason being that, yes, it might go up, it might kind of, cause inflation in the short run, but in the long run, it's going to benefit the country. It will increase a lot of exportation of our goods. And believe it or not, because for many, many years, what you have seen is certain group of people have access to the central bank. And because they have those access, they can go over there and I can, get something, let's just say hypothetically, about $20 million in US currency. I have access to it. And I'm buying it at a cheaper rate, and I bring it out and I spread it among the markets and among other individuals, call certain names that are exchange these dollars. Now we go to them, we buy it at a higher price. The difference in the prices belongs to easier profit, and they make billions out of it. So now that you have one particular rate, both central bank and any other bank, it will, in the long run, it will stabilize the economy. And I think this is a fantastic move. And let me tell you something: other leaders have thought about doing it, but for the fear of certain people, they would not even touch it, because those group of people will be almost put aside right now. They're not going to be able to, buy at a cheaper rate and sell at a higher rate to make that profit. So I think it's a great move, honestly.
Bidi, thank you, sir. Bidi, you are in Lagos, the commercial city of Nigeria, and I called a friend in Lagos yesterday. I said, how much do you buy a dollar now in Naira? And the person told me, well, I've been to a few banks. They told me they don't have any dollar to sell. So what is happening in the Nigerian way of it? I've been listening to Sir George.
Exactly. What that man told you is exactly what you'll be saying in Nigeria, because Tinubu unifying this rate of dollar to one single rate in Nigeria now, that's fine, that's good for our economy. But a lot of people who have over the years benefited from this are not going to allow it to fly. What that man told you, that's what you'll be seeing. Go from bank to bank, they'll tell you they don't have it. And they don't have it does not mean that they don't have it. They don't have it because they don't want to sell on that price. Now you can still get it from them. How would you get it from them? If you're ready to play game, Nigeria is a game playing country. If you're ready to play a game, now you have to speak with the manager or some of the workers, the marketers, and tell them, oh, how do I get this dollar? And they will not tell you, oh, I know where I can get it for you, but this is the price they're selling. They will not give you the price they want to sell. Now, if you're ready to buy that price, they will bring the dollar for you. That's exactly what you'll be seeing in Nigeria. Like Sir George said,
This
unifying
is
the rate of
interesting.
dollar in Nigeria is a wonderful thing. But is it going to work? Now I'll tell you why. Will it going to work? When that statement was made, dollar came down to 600. 3 days after, it skyrocketed again. So what are we talking about? This is Nigeria. They will always have their way. So now what I'm
Absolutely.
saying
Thank
is
you.
it's okay, the kind of statements our president is making, but he has to go a further more to regulate this thing and to monitor this thing. We need to have a monitoring team that will monitor these things to be implemented
Thank you,
very well
Bini.
and
Saib, go ahead. Dr. Ibe, it appears that the Nigerian factor destroys many things. This is a good move, like everybody has said, but I can assure you that because Nigeria is so much divided into North and South, and many Northerners are involved in currency exchange, it may be seen as a move against their source of livelihood. And secondly, the bank managers whom we have seen that are not on the side of the masses will also make sure the scarcity arise, and therefore it will still lead to a second tier where you will still need to go and change outside of the bank. Or what do you say?
Yes, I liken the situation to having a computer and you constantly have to update your antivirus because there are always going to be new viruses out there that want to take advantage of what you call maybe zero-day attacks, right? And the issue of corruption versus integrity or regulation, it's just like that. It's you always have to be one step ahead of the corrupt people. I mean, for a well-meaning government or well-meaning regulator. So there is no single policy that will eliminate everything at one go, but you can start from somewhere and start to do things correctly and adjust gradually. Adjust when you see bank managers trying to take advantage of it, you make a new policy that checkmates them. When you see something, you checkmate it. So it's that constant struggle and constant adjustment to the right path that will help to solve the problem. There is no single policy that just at a go will solve all problems. Now, what are the advantages of this free floating rate? Some of my colleagues have said that, but we have to take into account the fact that number one, the free floating rates creates a kind of independence between the federal government and the central bank, because the fixed rate creates that dependence, the requirement for a communication on set rates to fit political objectives. So that independence is very good. We talked about institutions, it's good for institutions. Secondly, is the less probability of, let's say, speculative attacks. And what I mean is that sometimes you can keep a rate constant while the underlying fundamentals of the economy have moved along and left you there. The speculators, they know this, but the average person who is selling doesn't know this. And then you wake up one day, and when it cannot be hidden anymore, bada boom, what you have been running away from will just come at you at once. And it's mostly the majority that suffer because the majority are not experienced enough to deal or to understand trend and dynamics of the market. And then the central bank has to keep less reserves when you're operating a free floating currency rate. They don't need as much reserves of dollars and gold, and this also, or euros as well. And this also allows the central bank to focus on other projects, developmental projects, and at the same time can also allow for regional trade in regional currencies, because now you are more regional trade in regional currency. We all know it's a very great thing. It allows us to develop and to be less dependent on imported inflation. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Mark. Things in Nigeria just don't work the way the government operates, or rather, the government does it knowing fully well that there will be a hitch somewhere that will benefit the richer people. This on this occasion, it appears that is going to benefit the richer people in Nigeria. They are going to bring out the massive amount of money they have hoarded and buy up, mop up the dollars within the community, and which will eventually lead to a rise in the amount of naira you pay for $1. Or you don't agree with that situation?
Dr. Shagun, I'm going to go a little bit back to a different aspect of this dialogue. And that aspect is our leaders don't weigh pros and cons, advantages, disadvantages, merits, demerits, and all that before implementing a policy. And I'm still standing on some instances. I want to repeat what I said last time. What we are looking at with this present government is running with somebody else's idea and blueprint without thoroughly checking that blueprint, that idea. So what they are doing is they have jacked up somebody else's idea and they are running with it. They are just doing it. So there will be problem. Let Nigerians not be carried away by the frenzy of what is happening now in this new election administration. I see George is excited. George thinks this is some new thing happening. But listen, it's just a frenzy. It's a smoke screen. It's not real. Believe me, this is all trying to. Dr. Shagun and I were saying something behind the stage. It is still in the campaign mood. They are still trying to make people feel that they are the Messiah. And no, they are not. It's a frenzy.
Can I say something to you?
Wake up, Mark.
Can I say something to you?
Let me finish. Last time we had a lot of people come against the statements I made. But listen, somebody has to be saying this, and we've not even said it enough. It's a frenzy. It's a smoke screen. It's not real. What is not real will never last long. It's not tangible. You can't feel it. So they come with this smoke screen, and yes, Tinubu has these great guys that are his media team doing this beautiful packaging and beautiful presentation. But listen, it will crumble because it's not real. Because they've taken somebody else's idea.
Bidi, you have the floor. Bidi, you have the floor.
You've spoken well, but one thing you should understand your people, Nigerians. Our lifespan of thinking is very short. So I understand you very well. I understand the angle you're coming from. As an average Nigerian now is focused on what can Tinubu offer him. And Tinubu on his own part is trying to impress Nigerians. That's exactly what he's doing. No, yeah, we will not undermine the fact that this case is still in the courts. But as it stands now, he's the president of Nigeria. That's what we say. That's what I was saying before Dr. Sheikh. I said, in Nigeria, we build individuals. We don't build institutions. And that's the problem we have in Nigeria. And that's exactly where we are now. Now, the presidency institution is not what matters. What matters now is Tinubu. And he's the president of Nigeria because they've inaugurated him and they've made him now president. So what he's doing now is what every Nigerian is focusing. And you know, Nigerians, they are carried away. Oh, he's making an appointment. He's laying people off.
Bidi, is it that Nigerians are carried away, but they are not articulate enough to know the dangers of the policies of their governments? We don't think
Nigerians are not articulating. They are not articulating.
That's very.
They are not articulating. They are based on what you're giving to them now. So they are not even thinking.
Let me also help Bidi. Bidi, I understand what you're saying. obviously, leadership of a country is like a driver on a wheel. Somebody has to hold the wheel, and at the moment, we know it's Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But what we're saying, like Dr. Shogun just added now, is we have to be careful. Even though somebody has to hold the wheel of leadership, we don't just allow the person to be driving because he's holding on to the wheels. Some of these policies might just be 1 minute of enticement, and the next minute it crumbles and brings more disaster to the country.
Let's just wait and watch.
So we don't just look at.
Okay, Mark. I want to allow Sir George to say something. What is our main problem? I mean, Nigerians, the totality of Nigerians, we don't appear to think through the policies of the government, so that we know the pros, we know the cons, and then we say, let us be mindful of the cons so that we can enjoy the pros, because most of the people are not that educated to understand what is going on. They only feel the pains of what is going on. Lack of infrastructure, lack of electricity, lack of the pains is only what they feel, but they are
Mark,
not
please
in
don't
the
show the
process
comment
of determining. Sir George.
The point we have is this: in our country, there are forces that we have been engaged in, and there are forces that have controlled the populace. And even under the what you call the democratic government, is still a pseudo democracy as far as I am concerned. Now, the reason why I say that is because the smell of a dictatorship of the military government is still in our mentality. Therefore, it is not that easy for people to expect much from the government. So when you see a government that is bringing new ideas, that is supposed to, move our country towards another direction, eventually, there is going to be resistance from the former people that used to think otherwise. For instance, if you bring somebody from North Korea right now, and you're talking about democracy, they're going to be laughing at you like, what is that? We don't believe in that. Why? They woke up, they were born into the system. The system is wired in them. And, so when you're talking about something completely different, is foreign to them. So the reason why I'm saying this is because of the way our people are still thinking. Many of us that were there during the military rule, this new generation, they came, they embraced it, the way our parents are thinking because of their experiences in the past. So you see that the forces out there sometimes can actually overshadow the new system of governmental rules and decisions to move our country to a different position. So that's what we're seeing here. But if like I forgot who said it before, maybe Dr. Ibe, that there must be a sustenance or diligence in maintaining the status quo. When you are moving in a one direction, you say, okay, we've been going north, we're not achieving anything. Let's turn around and go south right now. The people who were taking you through the north will say, no, we are not going. We got to continue this. And then all of a sudden, you still a little bit of shaking. But if you maintain the course of going to the north, because you believe that it's going to be eventually good, and start readjusting, decisions and things like, what happened during the Naira recoloring. Naira recoloring was another one. They didn't think about it. They just put it out there, and it's causing the people to have so much situation. The smell and the smoke of that is still in our country. Many people died out of that. It is not reported. So now what we're seeing is that when new ideas are coming up, let's wait, give them time. If things are happening within and noise is being made that is not working, adjustment will be made. More than likely, it will come to.
Thank you, Sir George. Dr. Ibe, how can we make Nigerians look at the policies and the dangers therein and be able to handle it with the level of political education we have? The National Orientation Agency should have done that. Once upon a time, MAMSA was doing a mass mobilization for social education and something like that. But it appears that the Agberu man, the Agbado man, they can never understand what's going on, but they're going to suffer from the poor policies or poor implementation of policies. How can we educate the Nigerian?
Well, you just said it. How can we educate them? Educate them. If you're going to
How?
ask
That's
a,
the
if
issue.
you're,
How?
yes, by having an educational system where they can go and making it accessible to them. You someone who did not even finish SS3, you're going to tell the person about capex, capital expenditure, or EBITDA. He's going to be wondering and scratching his head, are you out of your mind? What is EBITDA? What is social? What is ESG score?
Sorry,
He's
let me
Mhm.
help Godwin here. Dr. Shagu, that's a very
No,
good.
let him land. Let
That's a
Godwin
very
land,
good
please.
No, I want to put something, help him in so that because viewers are listening. That's a point I've always talked about when I speak to Nigerians or people in leadership in Nigeria. We have very poor enlightenment programs and arrangements. Educating the masses don't necessarily mean setting up schools and institutes. Do you know that here in Europe, in Germany, Spain, France, Italy, when there are policies, new governmental arrangements, they go around with vehicles, with posters and a voice on the speaker and speak in the local language of the people, explaining to the people what they are trying to do. So, but you see, Nigeria, we think everything has to
Okay.
be
let,
Thank you,
let,
schools.
Master.
let me, yeah,
Godwin, please continue. Yeah,
yeah.
we've heard you now.
Okay.
Godwin.
Okay. The like I said, educating. And what I meant is by increasing, first of all, reducing digital divide. We have a lot of the problem. When we talk about problems, sometimes we talk about the smoke, but not the fire. The first thing we talk about is free disposable income, which is a problem for Nigeria. Employment, a problem, and underlined with education. Without high skilled labor, you will not be able to get high paying job to have free disposable income to afford some things. And then the last but not the least, digital divide. If you look under sea at the cable routes, like the optical fiber cable that goes from Africa to other continents, you see that there are only very few. If you look at other continents, they have a lot of cables, redundancy cables to ensure communication. So you can see on an infrastructure level, there's already a digital divide. On an education level, there's a digital divide. Now, why what Mark is saying is good, but it can also be used for propaganda. What we don't need is more government bosses for running about. What we need is to reduce the cost of access to information, reduce and increase the disposable income of individuals so that they can have the time to meet their physiological needs according to Maslow's law of hierarchy, and then to be able to care about other things like building up themselves, what is good for the community. Because if you cannot solve your own hunger, you will not be able to solve your family's hunger, not to talk about the community hunger. That is not your problem.
Yeah,
So
but
we need to reduce the cost.
The problem is that for I can speak for half of Nigerians. If you want to explain what IMF and World Bank they do and how it will affect our economy and how devaluation and everything will, they would just tell you in one word: Turenchi, bad Turenchi, and that destroys everything.
They need to
And that
eat.
the problem is coming to affect every Nigerian. But Baturenchi says, I don't want to listen to you. Too much of talking.
Exactly. Why would they want to listen when they are hungry? Like I said, there's a hierarchy of needs. There's hierarchy of
Exactly.
needs.
That's
You need to
hunger.
meet physiological needs, and then solve your own problems. Even after you meet your needs, then there's
That's the hunger,
personal.
yes.
That hunger that
That's
Dr.
hunger.
said is the problem. Naturally, Nigerian politicians systematically want to keep Nigerians in hunger so that they can do their bid every time, anytime. That is just it. And we are
Sir
not.
George. Yes, Sir George, but we don't discover the world with our mouth alone. Only babies discover the world with his mouth. Everything he wants to put in his mouth. Until we move beyond that one, we won't get anywhere.
Can I inject something here?
Yes.
A man came up not too long ago, and in his campaign, he became very professorial, and he was educating people that in less than 6 months, he was able to garner the kind of popularity that is unfounded in Nigeria. If you go to the United States of America, when a policy is being debated or being discussed, the president travels to different parts of America to educate people and give them the pros and cons of what the decision is all about. This is how it's going to benefit you. So when we're talking about education, it's not only in schools, it's actually momentarily. It's like an imminent situation that needs to be understood by the people so that they can buy into it and they can look and say and weigh the pros and cons and say, well, this benefits me. Yeah, go right ahead and do what you want to do. So that's one of the major problems. One of the problem, what Billy was saying.
We will just stop. We will stop there. We will go with that understanding. We will go with understanding. On Wednesday, we'll be discussing how far the tribunal is moving, and we understand that something big is happening. Everyone should be aware of what is happening in the tribunal. It's a very serious issue. Dr. Osita Anyemeka sends his love and is feeding us with what is going on in Abuja. And we will be back on Wednesday, God willing. God bless you all for listening.